All right, begin
Got
class. Class is in session.
No, so I was telling, I was just scrolling through, and I think Dave, you know this, but I have not really described it in as much detail, I guess. But what I actually like doing is I literally scroll to any ticker on any day, and then I kind of scroll for until, say, for example, this is NQ, and again only on a 5-minute chart, and I scroll until say 9:25 ish, and not see what happened on this day before beyond this, but have this whole chart open and just analyze where I believe things would basically, uh, uh, I mean, for lack of a better word, pivot points or key areas basically. So either a level or a zone basically. And what I would do is I will identify those based on a couple of factors. One is, like, for example, if you have a big signal, like, for example, you have a double wave right here, right? So that was a signal that was created for us on our chart patterns. So my only purpose is to basically identify, those levels or those zones, and then basically, depending on those levels, I'll then hypothesize that if I was to go long or short, what are the places that I'll actually go long or short from, and then basically, once I've done that, I'll then go to the the regular hours time and then see whether my analysis or my views were consistent with it or not. So that's kind of the thing that I pretty much do every day long. And then obviously before the market open, I have the same plan available for myself to trade. But I'll tell you before I actually even go further in terms of detailing it out. One of the real impact of what I'm doing or what I'm about to show has been the kind of trades that I've taken this week. Uh, and when I say that, I mean, I've traded like 1 micro, five, 4 micros, 5 micros. I don't think I've gone beyond 5 micros. But the most significant piece is that with even 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of max 5 micros, I have looked to get 50 points, 70 points, and worst case scenario was probably 25 points. So that's been a big change, because I'm far more relaxed with what it is that's the objective, and last week has been pretty much that. So I've basically made, even though with those smaller micros, my trades have been in the hundreds of dollars, uh, if I kind of get the right thing done. So with that being said, so that's the objective, frankly. Why am I actually doing this? Because I feel like I'm better off looking at. Oh, see a lot of echo. Okay, not. So what you see here now is, like, this is, I don't know which day this is. It doesn't matter. So if I was to just look at all of this pre-market price action, right? I'm trying to look for a couple of points. So one of the points is, like you see here, right on the top, we have the 40, and again, focus is primarily going to be the 40 on a trend move. And then if it's reversing, then it becomes a 200. So it was a green cloud, so this was a trend. So the focus first is 40, and then it turned around from the 200. Now it's negative. But then again, now we have a red cloud. So again, the focus remains back on the 40. Okay. But that being said, I want to mark out certain places. So the first piece here that I see after the open is that we remained above the yellow line, which is the pre-market open line. We went up, and then you can see the 40 basically was touching the midnight line, 12 o'clock line, and also the previous day's open line. They are pretty much the same level. And price, although wanted to keep going up, it struggled, and then basically it fell once here, went up again, and then fell completely from that point onwards. So this is kind of the high, in my mind, the midnight line or the white colored line that you see starting from 12 is kind of the high water mark. So I'll mark that level out as one of the areas that would be interesting to go long from, or at least if something, if something is pushing up, it will at least hit that level. If it's bullish, if it's bearish, may not. But so that's one level. And also, although there is no key line that has come out, but the signal that we got, the double wave, was basically from the 200. You can see that the previous 200 attempt breaking of the 200 failed, but the second time it was successful. So I'll mark that out as well. Okay. Then, I mean, you can argue that the purple line or the London open line also is important, but we'll wait. It doesn't matter because we have the higher watermark marked out, and the purple line is between that, so it's okay. And then we've marked out the 200 EMA where we got the first break, big plunge from. Okay, and obviously we have support here right at the open. It broke, tried to come down, sat on that same support pre-market open line, and then finally broke. So it looks like a decent place to look for as well. And finally, we have right at around 9:30-ish, price is consolidating on the 40 EMA. So we'll mark that because price is closest to the 40 at that point of time. So I basically would mark that out. Now, we also know that whenever price is starting below the 200, so the 200 is, so now we can actually kind of, do some writing. So we see that the 200 is here. We are looking at a price which is below the 200, but the distance is not that big, right? What I was showing you, I think when we were talking last time, I was saying that one of the things that I've observed is that price, whenever it is below, significant distance below the 200, and with no major catalyst, possibly, what happens is that price will typically gravitate towards the 200 before it does anything else. So that is most likely to happen, but that's not a trade that I want to take here. So what are the things that I'm basically trying to hypothesize here? So number one, at this right here, where we are most interested right now, we see that there is a 200 here. We have a kind of a midpoint mark, literally, which is kind of splitting the whole day between two halves. This pre-market open line, the 200 is sitting here, and we have this line. So if price was to be bearish, I would rather have the price remain below this level. If it becomes bullish, then once it kind of breaks this level, at least on the upside, I want it to go up, retest, and then continue up. And you can see that there are multiple lines here. So even if it goes up, retests, and then goes up, I would rather exit probably at one of these two levels, because beyond that, I mean, there would be a lot of resistance here before it even breaks through. And on the downside, if price can go up, hit this level, but doesn't go further, or kind of stays within this place and then come down, I would want it to retest back again and then fall. So I would want to see that, and my entry for a short will be on that pre-market open line, and for an exit to this green line that I've drawn. So that's kind of the overall view that I usually kind of try to build up for myself. And then obviously the idea is to then see what happened. So if I now scroll further, here we go. So look at this now. So let me now take this off, right? All right. So now what do we see here? So price has remained bullish because that this cloud, obviously price has gone right up to the 200 and the that pre-market line. It struggled there and then finally went up. It came down. It hit this line, went up, right? Came down further a bit. Obviously, we now have the New York open line as well. And you will see that how this line exactly became, I mean, literally, I can't make this up. I've not seen this day, by the way. I've just, turned up, it hit that line, raised up again, went here, tested the same place again, boom. Right? So I'm saying, just developing this hypothesis by looking at what's really happening, what has happened just before, purely on a pre-market, is helping me And just this whole exercise, this whole thing that I'm trying to analyze and say, okay, if this happens, then this, if this happens, then this. Just that whole exercise is making me far more calmer than, trying to just look for a signal only. Okay. Like, for example, you could see here, Dave, this is the DPO, 14
Yeah.
DPO. You would have gone long here, or you would have seen some signal on the 1 minute chart.
Yeah, you would have gotten a single there for sure.
One here and then would have gone as well, right? And I'm not even looking at a 15-minute chart, but purely for developing the hypothesis, this is what I'm doing, and it seems to be working pretty well. It's not surprising. Again, I'll repeat, what I'm doing is simply looking at the pre-market, the whole of the pre-market, and then looking at where we got signals, where was the 40 or the 200 on the charts, was it next to some of the key levels or key breakpoints, and just marking out, and then asking myself, okay, where would I want to go long? What's the real, middle or the equator, which is what, this whole thing was. It was the equator basically, right? The midpoint of this whole pivot. So, go long here, go short here. But when you go short here, you want, short, retest, short. You want to go long, retest, long, right? So that's basically what I'm trying to, identify as a plan. And again, no difference. So there is no addition to what you guys are familiar with. Anyways, it's purely the same lines and the same signal concepts. Nothing different. But it just gives me that kind of I think just cooler mindset, I would say, a cooler brain to exercise, and then also the fact that I'm not now loading myself heavily, but looking for larger points. That itself is kind of uh, even more cooling than just the plan itself.
So can you?
So yeah, so we'll continue with this if you want.
I was just gonna say, so that 11:30 trade, which it looks like it would have produced a single 5 or S5.
Yeah.
Yeah, there. If you were
Yeah,
looking for, would you have taken it past London or gone to that other level that you created, like in the pre-market, or would you have just gotten your points and gotten that? I was asking, like, where would you have taken those extra points? Like,
I'll tell you this, and I think we'll probably encounter certain of these things. Okay, and so these are my observations for the day, and I'll show you an opposite of what I will show you here. On say this is the long trade, but I'll show you how the price keeps playing around with you. Okay, and just remember what I'm going to show you here. Say what happened here. Okay, this is the open. We went up. We hit this place that we marked out earlier. What happened? It came down and tested this level, went up. Obviously, it kind of pulled up slightly down. It went up. What it did then, it went down to the next level. Okay. Went up. It struggled to go to this level again. Okay. It went down and it went down what? Furthermore. So, this level, second level, and the third level. Okay. So remember what I'm showing you here. 3 levels. It actually did this. Okay. It went down quite a bit and then went up. Just remember what I'm showing you. And because this whole idea you will see in other days. In fact, yesterday was, or Friday was a classic example of the same pattern, but on the opposite way. Okay. And we'll come to Friday, but I will show you what. So again, I don't know what's happened next here on the next day. So we'll just quickly go through that. So I'll just go until 9:20-ish, and then we'll read, mark out the places, and see how the day panned out. Okay, so 9:25, here we are. Okay, so what am I saying here? And I'll probably remove these because we don't need these.
So the open and US are the two.
So again, here if you see the midnight line, the 40 line, very important, got tested, all of that. Okay, so we'll simply mark that as the first thing. Then the open is actually very close to the midnight line. If the yellow line, which is the open line, is very close to the midnight line. So, and again, it's a support, which is good. Okay, so we can use it as a zone. But, and again, you will see that the London Open has produced some signal here because there would have been a single 5 somewhere here. You would have gone single 5 right up here. So I'll try to mark this place and this place roughly. Okay, so that piece is kind of bullish area. I don't see anything negative for this day. This day looks bullish right now, except for the fact that if you look at the indicator, right at the at the juncture of where we are, what do you see on the waves? Except for the green clouds, you actually see that the waves are almost like a double five right here. Right? Where are we on the price level? We are actually literally at the 200. So the 200 means that usually double five means it's a plunge. Okay, but the question is, okay, if it plunges, great. What is your action, right? And right now, as we see this chart, the 200 is on the is merged with the pre-market open line, right? So we'll mark that out right now as the final thing to look for. So let's mark that out. Okay. And now, what is the hypothesis? So what do we really want to see, or what kind of trades do we want to look for, if on the long side or the short side? So any guesses, Dave?
We're looking short until it recovers above what line is that? The 960 line, it looks like.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I'm saying, so what happens? So right now, you don't want to enter the trade straight away at the open. So
right.
you basically, based on the indicator, again, based on the indicator, the hypothesis is that it will probably go down.
Right.
The candles will be down. And what you want for a short is for it to go up.
Retest, yeah.
Retest someplace here and then continue, right?
Right.
So that means that you should retain a double, or the D5 should be constant. There should be no change in the D5 format, and you would basically be looking for an S1.
Right.
Right. And again, I'm saying without even looking at the 15-minute chart. If you look at the 15-minute chart, it's a different story altogether. Or what happens if it kind of goes down and then does some retail, something here on the European European low, and then continues up, right? So if it goes up, what happens? So what is it that you want to look for when it goes up?
The retest.
Yeah. So you basically want it to obviously recapture, that yellow line, which is the pre-market open line. You want it to go up. You wanted to hit it somewhere here. It keeps on. It should hit here, retest again the open line, and then go up. That's how I would basically look for. Which means that I also then need a D5 and then an S1, but on the upside. Right?
Right.
Okay. So that's again what I'm looking for, and then we'll see what happens. And there you go. You see that?
So the US open line became the resistance line, and then looks like, I'm just going through this. We had a test of the pre-market open that came back down. It failed to break it. It went up, failed to break the US open, came back down and retested. Well, I know it's a euro low basically, but and then decided to go up, and then it did the final retest.
Yep. And then again, look at now when it went up, what happened here? So it made a low, right? It made one low here. So it can't matches with this particular
higher low, higher low, higher low, all off the levels.
Right? And then it goes up, and then off you go, right? There's nothing. So remember this thing we saw previously as well, yesterday or the day before on this one, right?
Yeah.
Low, low, and then pulled up. So it does this, this weird stepping pattern. And there's no, I mean, again, I'm not able to put it in words or in kind of a sequencing place, but I'm seeing this regularly when it actually tries to throw you out completely. It will make a lower, and then bam. And then there are these kind of days where it will do the opposite of it. It will, higher, and then bam. But you will see staggering pretty much every time. Okay. Again, I don't have a way to put it in the pattern, but I'm seeing this.
Right.
But you with me right now so far? Any questions?
No, I think the most difficult part for me would just be ascertaining what is the, I mean, you can see the levels, like, I mean, even when you had it at 925 and couldn't see the, after the open, but I mean, you can see the 40 and the open level were huge, and then it became the London, and then it became the US. I don't see the midnight, but yeah, it's just, I guess it's the habit of drawing those lines, or the exercise of making sure you're getting them.
Exactly. I mean, it's just, just building the hypothesis rather than just reacting. Say what's happening is I'm reacting less and I'm kind of knowing more, or at least I'm able to be at ease with what's happening in front of my eyes because it is not surprising me enough. I'm like, okay, I see what it's trying to do here. I'm seeing what it's trying to do here. And I'm just waiting for it to play out,
Right.
So that's probably what is helping the most in my case personally.
So can we, this day here that we just did, can we review trades once you've done, or like later on, whenever you're ready? Like, I just want to review trades just to make sure that we're on the same wavelength yesterday or whenever.
Yeah, so if I fast forward to yesterday, okay?
Yeah.
So look, so here is what happened. So, yeah, again, I was saying stair steps, right?
Yeah.
So here, look at what happened. It broke down, went straight up.
Right.
Okay.
The pre-market high.
Then it came down back again, remained at the 200 here at the London, and then it broke down. The next thing it does is it's then basically sitting on this and then breaks down. Then it sits on this and it breaks down, and then it can't do much anyways. See, I mean, so all of those levels that we would now recognize, okay, it just literally is flushing off from those places, and whenever you struggle, it just breaks. You see that? I mean, the same pattern, like literally higher, low, or whatever, lower, high, whatever.
Yeah, and then so 12 o'clock would have been an S1. Just trying to review or
all of those, yeah. And then again, if you were to say, I mean, we are seeing this day, okay, but now close this day, okay, you will still be able to identify the places from where it will do its own thing. Okay. So look at the chart and tell me what were the key levels here. Okay, let me stop talking and let me let you guys see. Tell me where should I mark some of the key levels.
Jonas, you want to do it or do you want me to?
Well, yeah, I think that midnight line, you got the 40 sitting on the midnight line, 5, 10, 15 minutes before open.
Yep.
Or no, excuse me, that's London open. My mistake. Our colors are different. My purple is the midnight line. So it'd be the London.
So
open.
London is purple. The open and midnight line are all stacked together.
Yeah, so that's significant, obviously.
Yeah.
59.56 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep. And okay, I marked this one as well.
US open line is a big one.
US open, yeah. So this one, so basically, if it's 59, 956, 957, right? That's what he's saying, right? This one.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else?
London is significant.
The London.
This one, but where? I mean, so basically, somewhere here, right?
On the 40.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it kind of hit it here. Yeah. What else?
I was saying the US.
Pre-market open.
And then you could do the 200 as well. The
exactly.
860 level. Or sorry, nine. I can't see that, it's too small.
920-ish.
Yeah, there we
go. Yep. Exactly. And now what is the hypothesis?
So our indicator looks like it's wanting to go down. So we want to see some type of pullback to like the 9
back
to 960, 970.
Exactly. Why? Because that's like a super important level because you've got the big plunge from there. So we want that test there, right? And then basically for it to continue down if it pulls down, right? And then you can basically say, okay, I want to go short from somewhere here. Where would you ideally want to get out? You'll probably want to get out somewhere here.
Right.
Right. So go short from here. all the way down here, right? So that would be what, 960 on to somewhere around, yeah, so
910 or
almost
something or whatever.
910, 50, 60 points at least, right?
Okay.
And then, so now it will answer your questions. Check it out. So it went further up a bit more, no doubt, but then right there, you would have easily exited by, I mean, again, so I went short one contract here and the other contract here, Dave. And I literally went to, I mean, obviously what we don't see is the New York open line, the regular open line. I literally went from there to 68.
So this is where I wouldn't be able to pull that trigger. The confidence. I mean, I can see it on the double, like after the second wave goes down, like that would be just okay. I'm hitting an entry off of the 40 and going in. But I mean, meanwhile, you've hit like 2 trades or whatever, like big trades.
Yep.
But
yeah, I mean, I'm saying, say, because I've been doing this exercise as well to see how this price action is basically panning out. Okay.
Right.
But again, so okay, so that was one trade. But look at the other trades from that point onwards. So we said this is basically one of the key places where, so one was this area. It will want to go up and then fall. Then once it's basically tested it, it would want to go up to this zone, then fall somewhere there. And you can see here again, it fell down, right? It came here, went back to the same zone, fell back.
Hmm.
And then obviously now you have all clear here. So obviously it's falling. You will now only focus on the S1 scenario where you have now D5
Right.
already, you have a clean 15, all of that. But
that's
just, yeah.
So the S1s that we're talking about are the ones that I took.
Yep.
And I mean, I was doing 3 contracts primarily, but then I guess what I'm asking is, what is the confidence level of, I mean, everything is down in my books and it's just like, it's a foregone conclusion.
I mean, when you have these fat D5s, then the S1 is awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that was, yeah.
This yellow line is kind of the MACD. Again, MACD is sitting really below. This purple triangle dots are basically your 14 DPO, which is again struggling to even go up. Even the 14 is struggling to go up. So yeah, I mean the S1s are pretty much the game here the whole day. I'm saying, I mean, I'm just literally, I'm telling you, I'm just, whenever I find time, I'm literally pulling up any chart, just the 5-minute time frame, and just not coming to either 9 o'clock on crude or 8:15 on gold. And I'm doing exactly what I've showed you guys here of marking out the places, writing down my hypothesis and saying, okay, long from here, short from here, blah, blah, blah. And this is what I want to look for. And it's there are only a few days when it actually is, you won't find good analysis. And literally whenever I've struggled to find a good analysis on a particular day is when the day has been pretty choppy or it has been just one-way traffic.
Right. So with the pre-market here, where the open and midnight line were so strong and nothing happened, and then we broke down.
Yep.
To go with the long hypothesis, would your long be above the 960 level, or would it be above? Right.
Absolutely. So you will always find again, and yeah, so you will actually find price breaking. It will come here and then off. But then again, when you want to look for longs, where will you go long? You'll either go long on a 200, or so basically either a D5 or an S5. Or an S5, right? Right. Or if you just stay on this chart, right? So your long scenario is going to be only here because your 40 is below. So unless you basically wait for 40 to keep going up and cross this 50, cross the 200, then you're looking for the 40 to be stuck to either this level or the 40 to be stuck to this level for you to take that one down or an S1 down from that onward. So I would always still be looking. So even if you take the long trade, I would still be looking for the 40 because that's the where I want to be. I'm comfortable taking that long trade. So I want the 40 to be something above. If not, then if not a D5 on the 200.
Right. So, okay, so hear me out here for 2 secs. So we had the pre-market high, midnight, blah, 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 the 960 level, but then wouldn't you be looking to more at the, or could you be looking at the 920 level because that's when more volume starting to kick in because the US is opening up and it's the 200, like price failed to break the 200, it did, and then it reclaimed it. And then, so that's what I was just trying to differentiate, like the long hypothesis, or would that be a zone, so to speak?
Yeah, so we'll actually find those places where, so like yesterday, Friday, you didn't get the long hypothesis. Okay, but there will be places where you had this red cloud in the pre-market and then it just turned around, right? We'll see that. So we'll actually find those examples.
Okay.
Like you almost did long there. You can
hang on
see.
2 secs, guys. Sorry. Or you can go on. I'll be 2 secs.
All right. Yeah, this is the good example as well. I think this is what he was asking for.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah, and see here, this is example, Dave, where